Welcome back, folks. Today we're diving into the wild, wacky, and sometimes downright unbelievable world of international law. Because it turns out, while we all know about don't steal and try not to commit tax fraud, some countries have gotten a little creative, let's say, with their legislation. We're talking laws so bizarre they make you wonder if the lawmakers were playing Mad Libs with legal jargon. No adjective, noun, in place. Sure, why not? Slap it on the books. From goldfish bowls to guinea pig companions, get ready to question everything you thought you knew about global jurisprudence. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll be thanking your lucky stars that you live in a place where, you're allowed to wear the color yellow in public, or clap without fear of arrest. Our first stop on this whirlwind tour of legal oddities takes us to the Great White North, a land known for its friendly people, love of hockey, and, apparently, deep suspicion of comic books. That's right, folks, until just a few years ago, Canada had a law on the books that essentially banned any comic book depicting crime. I'm not talking about like graphic violence or anything that would make Wolverine blush. No, we're talking any depiction of crime or immorality. So, if a superhero stopped a bank robbery or a plucky young detective solved a case of stolen cookies, boom, illegal comic book. This law, which by the way came into effect in 1949, when people still thought you could get polio from a comic book, was finally repealed in 2018. That's right, 2018, meaning for nearly 70 years, Canada lived in fear of illustrated misdemeanors. Now, I'm no lawyer, but it seems to me that if your definition of crime is so broad that it encompasses the entirety of the superhero genre, you might need to, revisit your legal code. Just a thought. Next up, we're heading to Denmark, a country known for its hygge lifestyle, delicious pastries, and, apparently, a deep-seated fear of accidentally turning their cars into nap pods. You see, in Denmark, before you even think about putting your key in the ignition, you are legally required to check under your car. Why, you ask? Are they worried about rust? Mechanical gremlins? Nope, they're worried about children. That's right, Danish law mandates that you make sure no one is taking a nap under your vehicle before you drive off. And it's not just children either. We're talking cats, dogs, hedgehogs, really any living creature that might find your undercarriage a cozy spot for a snooze. Now, I understand the sentiment here. We don't want any accidental squishings. But I have to ask, is this really a widespread enough problem in Denmark that it requires a law? Are there just hordes of napping children roaming the streets, looking for a temporary automotive shelter? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like a public awareness campaign might be more effective. Something catchy like, don't be a clod, check under your car, you DOD. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're jetting off to Malaysia, where things are about to get a little colorful. Specifically, not yellow. You see, in some states in Malaysia, wearing the color yellow to a football, or soccer as we heathens call it, match is strictly verboten. Why the aversion to sunshine hues? Well, apparently yellow is associated with the political opposition in Malaysia, and nothing says sportsmanship like banning an entire color from a stadium, right? So if you're a fan of, say, Brazil, known for their iconic yellow jerseys, you might want to leave your lucky shirt at home. The police have actually been known to confiscate yellow clothing at matches, and even detain fans for flaunting the forbidden shade. Imagine that, getting arrested for wearing a banana costume to a football game. Talk about a fashion faux pas. It seems to me that if you're that worried about the color yellow inciting unrest, you might have bigger problems on your hands. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy who thinks people should be able to express their team spirit without fear of a fashion-related felony. Next, we're taking a trip to Russia, where they take their car washes very, very seriously. We're not talking about a little dust here or a few bird droppings there. We're talking about cars so dirty, they look like they've been driven through a mud bog, and then lost a fight with a flock of pigeons. You see, in Moscow and other Russian cities, driving a car that's excessively filthy, to the point where you can't even read the license plate, can actually get you fined. The official reason? To prevent license plate fraud, of course, because nothing screams criminal mastermind like a guy who can't be bothered to run his car through a car wash. Now, I'm all for a bit of law and order, but this one seems a bit excessive, shall we say? I mean, how much license plate fraud can one really commit with a vehicle that looks like it just survived an apocalypse? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there are more pressing issues in the world than a little bit of mud on your bumper. But hey, at least the car washes in Russia are probably booming. Buckle up, folks, because our next destination is Venezuela, where the government has taken on the role of personal therapist, at least when it comes to your musical taste. In the state of Zulia, there's a law on the books that bans sad or melancholic music in public transportation and taxis. That's right, if you're a taxi driver and you're caught blasting some Adele or Mozart's Requiem, you could be facing a hefty fine. The reason? To protect mental health, of course. Because nothing says mental well-being like being forced to listen to upbeat polka music while stuck in traffic. Now, I'm all for a bit of mood boosting, but this seems a bit extreme, don't you think? I mean, who gets to decide what constitutes sad music? Is it based on tempo, lyrics, the amount of vibrato employed by the vocalist? And what about those of us who find solace in a bit of melancholic music? Are we just supposed to grin and bear it while being subjected to a never-ending loop of Happy by Pharrell Williams? The whole thing just seems like a recipe for a collective existential crisis. Ciao, Bella, we're off to Italy, the land of pasta, pizza, and apparently very strict goldfish housing regulations. That's right, in Italy, keeping your finned friend in a traditional round bowl is a big no-no. And by no-no, I mean you could be slapped with a fine of up to 4,500 euros. That's roughly the price of a used Fiat. Why the crackdown on circular aquariums? Well, according to Italian law, those little bowls don't provide enough oxygen for goldfish to thrive. They argue that it's cruel to confine these majestic creatures to such cramped quarters. And honestly, they're not wrong. However, this law does beg the question, what about all the other animals we keep in confined spaces? What about hamsters on wheels, gerbils in cages? Those poor unfortunate souls trapped in those tiny apartments in New York City. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for animal welfare, but this whole thing just seems a bit fishy. Pun very much intended. Hold on to your cheese, folks, because we're headed to Switzerland, where even the guinea pigs have a social contract. You see, in this land of chocolate and precision timepieces, owning just one guinea pig is actually illegal. I'm not making this up. The Swiss government, in all its wisdom, has decided that guinea pigs are social creatures who need companionship. So if you want to own one of these furry little potatoes, you'd better be prepared to adopt two. Loneliness, apparently, is a criminal offense in the guinea pig world. Now I get it, guinea pigs are pack animals and they thrive in groups. But does it really require government intervention to ensure their emotional well-being? What's next? Mandatory cuddle time for hamsters? Group therapy sessions for goldfish? It all seems a bit extra. But hey, at least the Swiss are taking animal companionship seriously. Maybe they can give the rest of the world a few pointers on how to be better friends. Next stop, Saudi Arabia, where we're diving into the fascinating world of fashion retail, or at least trying to. You see, in some stores in Saudi Arabia, women are actually banned from trying on clothes before they buy them. That's right, ladies, no more squeezing into too tight jeans in the fitting room or doing that awkward shimmy to get a dress over your hips. Just point, pay, and pray it fits when you get home. The reason behind this unusual rule? Modesty laws, of course. Apparently the act of trying on clothes in public is considered, shall we say, too risque. Now I'm not an expert on modesty laws, but I have to say this one seems a bit counterproductive. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to encourage women to try on clothes before they buy them? That way, they're less likely to return items and everyone's happy, right? But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy who thinks shopping should be a pleasant experience, not an exercise in sartorial roulette. Konnichiwa, and welcome to Japan, where the government is playing Cupid, and your boss might just be your wingman. You see, in an effort to combat their declining birth rate, some Japanese companies have started offering their employees a rather unusual perk: dating subsidies. That's right, folks, you can actually get paid to go on dates. It's like Tinder, but your employer is swiping right for you, and footing the bill. Now, I know what you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. Where do I sign up? Well, before you pack your bags and book a flight to Tokyo, it's worth noting that this isn't exactly a nationwide policy. It's more of a local initiative, with some towns even offering cash bonuses to couples who tie the knot. Still, it's a pretty fascinating approach to tackling a demographic challenge. And who knows, maybe it'll catch on in other countries struggling with similar issues. Imagine a world where your boss is just as invested in your love life as you are. It's either a dream come true, or the plot of a dystopian rom-com. Bonjour and welcome to France, a country known for its romance, its cuisine, and its oddly specific law about naming pigs. You see, in France, it is technically still illegal to name your porcine pal Napoleon. That's right, folks, if you're thinking about bringing home a little Wilbur or Babe, you'd better come up with another name. Unless, of course, you're feeling rebellious and want to risk the wrath of the French legal system. Now you might be wondering, why Napoleon? What did that little emperor ever do to deserve this? Well, the law dates back to the 19th century, and it was put in place to preserve the dignity of the former emperor. Because nothing says dignity like having your name forever linked to a farm animal. Look, I'm all for respecting historical figures, but this just seems a bit much. I mean, Napoleon wasn't exactly known for his humility in the first place. And besides, wouldn't he be more offended by the fact that we're still talking about him in the 21st century? Yassas, and welcome to Greece, the land of ancient ruins, stunning beaches, and A surprising aversion to video games? That's right, folks. In Greece, playing video games in public internet cafes is actually illegal. Now, before you start packing away your Nintendo Switch in despair, it's important to note that this law isn't targeting all forms of gaming. It's specifically aimed at electronic games, including mobile games, that are played in public internet cafes. The reason? To curb gambling addiction. Apparently, the Greek government was concerned that these cafes were becoming hotbeds of illegal gambling, and they decided to crack down on the problem by banning all electronic games. Now, I'm all for responsible gaming, but this seems like a bit of an overreaction, don't you think? It's like banning all books because some people use them to hide their secret stash of, well, you get the idea. It's a classic case of punishing the many for the actions of the few. Ahlan wa sahlan, and welcome to the United Arab Emirates, a land of towering skyscrapers, luxurious shopping malls, and surprisingly strict photography laws. You see, in the UAE, taking pictures of people without their permission is a big no-no. And by no-no, I mean you could end up facing fines or even jail time. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about all those tourists taking selfies in front of the Burj Khalifa? Surely they're not asking everyone in the background for permission? And you'd be right. The law is primarily enforced when someone complains about having their picture taken without consent. But even accidental snapshots can land you in hot water. Let's say you're taking a picture of your friend in front of a beautiful fountain, and someone walks into the frame at the last second. If that person decides to make a fuss, you could be in trouble. So the next time you're in the UAE and you're feeling snap happy, just remember, it's better to ask for permission than forgiveness. Or, stick to taking pictures of inanimate objects. Those buildings aren't going to sue you, yet. Ni hao and welcome to China, a country with a rich history, a booming economy, and a strict ban on time travel? Well, sort of. In 2011, the Chinese government issued a ban on TV dramas that featured time travel as a central theme. It seems the censors over there were concerned that these shows were disrespecting history and promoting frivolous fantasies. Because, historical accuracy is paramount when you're dealing with fictional narratives about hopping through time. So, if you were hoping to catch a Chinese drama about a swashbuckling hero who travels back in time to prevent the Boxer Rebellion, you're out of luck. Apparently the censors deemed those kinds of stories too dangerous for the Chinese people to handle. Now, I'm all for cultural sensitivity, but this one seems a bit excessive. I mean, it's not like these shows were claiming to be documentaries, they were clearly works of fiction. But hey, I guess the Chinese government has bigger fish to fry than regulating the temporal morality of their television programs. Goddag and welcome to Norway, a land of stunning fjords, breathtaking mountains, and one very unusual town where it's illegal to die. You heard that right, folks. In Longyearbyen, a tiny settlement located on the Svalbard archipelago, death is strictly prohibited. Now, before you start packing your bags and booking a one-way ticket to eternal life, there's a catch. The reason behind this morbid law is actually quite practical. You see, Longyearbyen is located in the Arctic Circle where the ground is permanently frozen, and as it turns out, permafrost and decomposing bodies don't mix. So, to prevent the spread of disease and other unpleasantness, the Norwegian government has decreed that anyone who is seriously ill or approaching death must be transported to the mainland. It's a rather macabre form of medical tourism, but hey, at least they're being proactive about it. Of course, this begs the question. What happens if you accidentally kick the bucket in Longyearbyen? Do they find your corpse? Deport your remains? The world may never know. Privet and welcome to Belarus, a country known for its, well, honestly, I'm not entirely sure what Belarus is known for because it's not exactly a tourist hotspot. But one thing it is known for is its rather unusual stance on public displays of approval. You see, in Belarus, clapping your hands in public can actually get you arrested. That's right, folks. A simple act of applause can land you in hot water with the Belarusian authorities. The reason? Well, apparently, clapping is seen as a form of protest in Belarus. And since the government isn't exactly a fan of dissenting opinions, they've decided to crack down on any form of public expression, even something as innocuous as clapping. Now, I'm all for maintaining order, but this one seems a bit extreme. I mean, are we really living in a world where expressing appreciation for anything is considered a subversive act? It all seems a bit Orwellian, to say the least, but hey, at least the Belarusian government is consistent in its absurdity. In 2011, they actually arrested a one-armed man for clapping, because when you're cracking down on dissent, you can't let a little thing like a missing limb get in the way. So there you have it, folks, a whirlwind tour of some of the most bizarre, baffling, and downright unbelievable laws from around the world. From goldfish bowls to guinea pig companions, from time-traveling TV shows to the perils of public applause, we've covered it all. Now, I know what you're thinking, some of these laws seem downright ridiculous. And to that I say, you're absolutely right. But here's the thing, even the most absurd laws often have a story behind them, a reason, however misguided, for their existence. Whether it's a misguided attempt to protect animals, preserve history, or simply maintain order, these laws offer a fascinating glimpse into the cultural quirks and historical oddities of our world. So, the next time you're tempted to judge another country's legal system, remember, your own country probably has a few skeletons hiding in its legal closet as well. And some of them might even involve farm animals named Napoleon. Some of these laws make sense, like banning animal cruelty, while others seem straight out of a dystopian novel. Would you dare to break any of them? Want even more bizarre laws? Let me know.